What's up, Geminites? It's your boy Gem Mint. Today we're going to unbox and review a custom quarter-scale Demogoblin. This is the only one that exists ever. This is the only one that exists ever. Ever.
Really, Jim? So today we're looking at this custom Demogoblin statue and how it was broke to shit during shipping. To give back to you guys, the Extreme Channel is giving away this giant Goro statue from PCS for our 20,000 sub giveaway. If you want to know how to win this, I'll tell you a little bit later in this video. Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. If you don't like the fact I took a jab at Jem, he doesn't need you to defend him. He could kick my ass on his own. Now, as Jem was reviewing the prototype of this statue, this is actually one of the production pieces. This is actually number 1 out of 40, I believe, that they made. And as I said in the intro, it came broke to shit. You probably can't tell right now, but we're going to talk about that during design. So this is Demogoblin. I'm not as familiar with Demogoblin. Demogoblin was a variant of HobGoblin. It was actually when HobGoblin was possessed by a demon, and then eventually he became his own entity. But he has a lot of similar things to HobGoblin and Green Goblin. Pumpkin bombs, the outfit, the slider, and this isn't a mask. So that is his actual face. That's one thing I really like about him. His glider, while he has one, it's actually an actual bird of flames. It's not a physical man-made glider. But we're going to review this statue. So this statue is actually one in a line of Spider-Man villains that I've got from the same producer. So first of all, this is a custom, means it's a private unlicensed commission. Some of the other pieces include these right here. You have this Venom that I really wasn't a fan of the final production piece, but I absolutely love their HobGoblin and their Doppelganger. This is meant to go with their lines, and I'm actually going to put this right next to the HobGoblin statue eventually when it gets replaced or repaired. If you want to see what that looks like, make sure to check out the Extreme Channel Facebook and Instagram page because I post exclusive pictures in there. So let's just dive right into the review of this guy. We're going to use the traditional format starting with concept. And I think this is where this piece really shines. You know, a lot of people, like I said, don't know who Demogoblin is, but they can kind of understand that, hey, this is clearly a Spider-Man villain or an offshoot of HobGoblin or Green Goblin. So on the bottom, like many Spider-Man pieces or Spider-Man villains, you have the top of a building. What I really like about this is it's encased in flames. Not only is it encased in flames, but the flames actually come up and they transform into the bird glider that he is riding on. There's some design issues we're going to talk about besides the breakages, but it's still a pretty cool aspect to it. I really like the way they do buildings with paint and sculpt on this. And he's riding on it. There are no switch outs on this piece, which is kind of interesting. So he's riding on it almost like he could fall off, but again, he's a demonic being, so he probably has decent balance. With pumpkin bombs in both hands, a crazy ass sinister look on his face, his cape flowing in the wind. This statue has a lot of that action dynamic aspect to it. It looks like a moment frozen in time, very similar to the other goblin statues that I have. So I think it's going to pair perfect with them. I have them on the top shelf, insinuating they're flying, and at the top of the building. I love the concept of this piece. Like I said, it flows really well with the line. It flows really well as a standalone piece. It shows the power of Demogoblin. It shows his clothes are kind of torn up. You'll see during the closer aspect of this. So I think the concept's a 4 out of 5. Really, really impressed with it. Now, design is where we have a ton of issues, not only from the breakages that I had, and let me show you the boxes here. So here's the box, and actually, I stand corrected, they made 50 of these, not 40. But your standard black custom foam, and when I opened it up, I was a little worried because it didn't seem packed that well, and my worries were just when I started seeing some broken pieces, and then alas, the worst breakage possible, the body itself was broken from the legs. There's almost like a huge air bubble inside of it, and a lot of it was demolished. So essentially, not only did it break mid-torso here, but a lot of the pieces were shattered. There were still a few connecting pieces. Here's a close-up. So what I tried to do for the review is glue on what I could so I could at least show you guys this statue. The commissioner has said he's going to have this fixed or replaced. I'm not sure how he can have it fixed because some of the parts missing, I don't even know what they were. But unfortunately, that wasn't the only design issue. Now, it doesn't have any switch outs, and honestly, I'm okay with that because if it did have switch outs, I would probably display it like this. This is pretty badass. However, the glider doesn't sit in flush. There's a big gap. Thankfully, it's here on the back, so I can definitely get over that. Then there is a decent, nasty seam on the glider back here. And his feet don't sit flush. See this right here? And what kind of kills me is on the prototype review that Jem did, there were some of the same issues. So they knew about them and they were never fixed. Definitely a negative. Let's do the dimensions really quick for you guys. So the widest point of the base is probably about 1 foot. The widest point of him is about 19 inches. Deepest part of the base is about 11 inches or so, maybe 12. Deepest point in the goblin is maybe 14 and a half. And then the highest point is probably his cape back here. It is just under 30 inches, so it does take up quite a bit of space. So when it comes to design, it's a 1 out of 5. I mean, those are some serious problems, especially with the breakages. Without the breakages, I still think it'd be a 2 out of 5, but definitely some concern there. Paint and sculpt. Now, as we dive into this, there's certain things I like a lot. I really like Demogoblin's portrait. I like some of his skin. However, I like the paint and sculpt on some of the older pieces better. But let's check this one out. All right, so let's dive in on this guy. One thing we really didn't talk about with design, you definitely have to display him high because he's looking down. So you don't want him lower than you on a shelf. So I do like the building. It's very clean. A few cracks on it. Most of the other buildings were actually demolished. I like how this one isn't, and it's more this hellfire coming out of it. I like the color base they chose. It really contrasts well. Bricks look very comic-like, and so I appreciate that with the statue. Now let's look at the fire. I'm not a huge fan of this. I like both translucent and painted polystone resin fire like XM Studios Ghost Rider, but I'm not a fan of this, and I think it's a combination of the paint and the sculpt. But I do like the bird, how it transcends into this evil bird. I like how they did that. So I think that was clever. I like the bird a lot better than the fire coming out of the sides and the back here. While we're up here, let's take a look at the cape. The cape looks fantastic. So first of all, it's not very heavy, but I love how ratty and torn it is. And then there's this texturized pattern on it. And then you see the different shadowing, really makes it come to life, especially just how it's flowing in the wind. And on the underside is actually kind of this red-orange color, more red than orange. It's kind of hard to tell in here with the lighting, but I think they did a fantastic job on this cape. And then Demogoblin. So I want to dive into his outfit here. A lot of that same torn, worn aspect that I like, and it crisscrosses off his cape, the blue and the red, so I think that was incredibly clever. And then you almost feel like the inside of his costume here is red. You see how this is ripped? And then some of the threads coming out. We'll come back to his skin in a second. Down here you have kind of a skirt, and I'm not sure what this is supposed to be, and part of this is because this is where it's all damaged. He has this belt with these evil goblin skulls on it. But I'm not sure what this skirt is supposed to insinuate with it, because he didn't really have any transformation or anything. But his pants look great. There's some cool folds and creases and seams in there. I think they did a nice job. And part of this is hard to review because you don't know what was supposed to be down here. This looks great, the leather strap. So this is presumably where maybe he had some type of bag or sack like HobGoblin did. But very clean paint, looks like real leather. I like the buckle on it, the stitch pattern on the side. Pumpkin bomb, same comments about the flames, but I think these look better than the actual fire on the bottom. I wish his fingers were a little more differentiated from the bomb. They're almost too close, they don't protrude enough. Here's more of his torn costume as we jump into his skin. This very scaly reptilian-like skin. I like the coloring on it, because remember, like I said, he actually is a goblin. He's not a man wearing a costume. So I like how they showed that by showing these ripped off portions of his arms. But where he really shines, in my opinion, is the portrait. Portrait looks fantastic, every part of it. The paint, the sculpt. I love those eyes, evil, sinister eyes. You know, interesting part about him, I believe he actually ended up being like an anti-hero in the end, which you wouldn't expect because this is a scary-ass anti-hero. But a lot of that same cool scale aspect to his face. His teeth look good, the tongue coming out. It's a forked tongue, pretty cool. Really impressed with his portrait. So hopefully I can get the rest of this fixed because like I said, this could be a pretty cool statue. So let's start with paint. It's very clean, which I appreciate. I hate when there's, when it bleeds over. But I think it's very average. I'm not a fan of the fire. I like XM Studios Ghost Rider. I like translucent fire better. I think at best the paint's a 3 out of 5 on this piece. However, the sculpt is a little bit better. I do appreciate how the bird is actually made of fire. A lot of the things on Demogoblin, his torn cape, his skin, his portrait, I think the sculpt's a 4 out of 5. I am more impressed by that, which makes the piece less disappointing. So let's talk about value. 800 bucks. So this cost 800 bucks. And I can't even remember how much shipping was because I paid for shipping 6 months ago. It took 6 months to get here after I paid for shipping. But I think it was a couple $100, anywhere from $100 to $400. So you're about $1,000 for a character that honestly will never be made in 1/4 scale. Now, if it didn't have a lot of the issues, I wouldn't question the value at all. Now, it is a low edition size. If you're a Spider-Man fan and you have a big Spider-Man collection, I think this is a must-have if there aren't any issues with it. But because of the issues, I think it's a 3 out of 5. The value's not bad. If mine actually wasn't broken, I could probably get my money back for it. So does this have the X factor? You know, the portrait really says a lot about this piece. He is very menacing. It's not a 5 out of 5 statue. If I can get it fixed where I can't even tell this was all broken, I think I would give this a 3 out of 5. So hopefully that's the case. If it gets fixed, it'll be a 3 out of 5. To win this Goro statue, first thing you got to do is make sure you've liked this video, you've actually subscribed to the channel, and you've hit that bell notification. Second thing is leave a comment below, and make sure it's a witty, entertaining, or funny comment. Because when we hit 20,000 subscribers, I'm going to pick a random video, and the comment that has the most likes on it will be the winner of this Goro statue. So make sure your comment is entertaining to others and entertaining to Mr. X. Because if I like it, I'm actually going to pin it to the tops to help you get more likes. But thanks for tuning in, guys. I'll keep you updated on the repairs. Make sure to hit that picture of me to subscribe to see more cool stuff like this. Drop me a like on your way out. Check out some of these other videos. Till I talk to you very soon. Take care.